Good morning. Well, it turned into winter overnight here. I don't know what happened. It's like 30 something degrees right now, so I got the full winter gear, the gloves, everything. So trying to get in a speed workout today. So I have a warm-up, some 1,000-meter reps, and then some 400-meter reps at an even faster speed. So I thought this would be a good time to test a few plated kind of tempo shoes against each other. So right now I'm wearing the Adidas Boston 13, and then I'm going to switch to the Nike Zoomfly 6, and I'm going to close with the Puma DV8 3, and just want to do a little bit of a comparison today between these three plated training shoes. And one of the first things I would mention is if you have a wider foot, it's the Zoomfly 6. That one has the most room in the forefoot of the three shoes. The Adidas shoe is on the narrow side, but the Puma one is like one of the most narrow shoes with the least room in the toe box of any shoe I've ever run in. So if you have a wide foot or volume in your forefoot, just avoid the Puma altogether. All right, 25-minute warm-up done, and finished about 3 miles exactly during that time. So running in like the middle 8-minute mile paces. And running warm-up paces, I would say that the Boston 13 feels good but not great. And this shoe has some firmness to it. The heel of the shoe is traditional Light Strike, not the Light Strike Pro, which is a firmer, less bouncy foam. And then it has the Light Strike Pro, a lot of it in the forefoot. So when you're really landing midfoot to forefoot and towing off on all that Light Strike Pro, that's where you're getting good bounce and energy return from this shoe. But if you're landing more to the heel, it's stable, but it doesn't feel that bouncy in that area. This shoe also has a really built up outsole, a lot of rubber on it, so it's going to be very durable. I can see this being really solid for a daily trainer that you're going to put a lot of miles on. In long runs, there's enough stack. It's comfortable. The upper is on the tighter side, but it's not incredibly tight compared to some of the other shoes that I have. And this also has Adidas's rods in it, which add to the firmness and propulsiveness, but I feel like you need to be running faster to really activate the foam and the rods in this shoe. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna do some 1,000-meter repeats. I think I'm shooting for around like 7-minute mile pace here. Well, what a difference some pace makes. Picked up the speed in these, completely different shoe. That stiffness has a point now, but the shoe being stiff gives you something to push off of. The Light Strike Pro in the front becomes more responsive and bouncy. So this shoe really is a tempo shoe to me. When you're running easy paces, it's just solid, but nothing special. But when you start turning up the pace, then the shoe really comes alive and gives you a lot more performance. So I just did the 3-mile warm-up, 2,000-meter reps in this shoe. Now I'm going to switch to the Zoomfly 6, finish the rest of the 1,000-meter reps, and then I'm going to switch to the Puma at the end. So now I'm in the Zoomfly 6, and the Zoomfly is an interesting shoe with Nike, where it basically started out like the first version of it was basically like a training version of the Vaporfly. It was very lightweight, looked almost exactly like it, and then they just really went the other way with it. The last version of this shoe I had was a heavy block with mostly SRO2 foam, which is not a really good foam, some crushed up Zoom X in there, and a carbon plate. It's like, what are we trying to do with this shoe? So it was like kind of a good long run shoe. It was stable, but it was heavy, didn't really have a lot of energy return. And then the Zoomfly 6, they kind of brought it back to what it originally was, which is like a tempo trainer. So this one has a carbon plate in there. It still has the SRO2 foam in the heel, which is a foam that I really don't like. But then it has a whole layer of Zoom X running through the front. So as long as you're landing on the midfoot to the forefoot of the shoe, you're landing on all that Zoom X and getting the propulsion from the plate. So again, kind of similar to the last shoe. I feel like if you're running slower or landing more towards the heel, it's not as fun of an experience to run in this shoe. But if you really are putting pace into it, it really rewards you for that. This shoe also has a much wider forefoot than either of the other two shoes. So if you have a wider foot, this is gonna fit you much better. I actually have a 12.5 in these because Nike's used to run small on me, but now recently I've been getting a 12 in all their shoes and they're fitting fine. So these are actually probably a little bit long for me as well. So I probably could have got away with the 12. But now I'm gonna do some reps in these and see how the feel compares to the Adidas. Okay, Nike. So now we're talking. I think that was my fastest rep so far. That felt really good. And what I have to say about this one, the forefoot is really wide, and the plate, it kind of tips you onto it and you roll off of it really nicely. And the Zoom X foam has really good bounce. So the combination of the Zoom X and the plate in this shoe is working better than the Light Strike Pro and the rods in the Adidas. It almost feels like this is gonna be a weird example. Say you put like something soft like a cushion at the end of a diving board, and then you run and jump on that cushion and bounce off the diving board. That's kind of what this shoe feels like to me when you're towing off. You're rolling onto the end of that diving board, squishing in, and then getting that energy return, lifting you up and pushing you forward. And the width of the forefoot, it feels like a diving board. So not a lot of width to it, very stable. So I'm able to land on that, compress the foam, roll onto the plate, and toe off with power. So this shoe really feels great when you're picking up your cadence and running hard in it. I feel like I actually prefer the feel of this one over the Adidas when trying to run fast. For the record, 1,000-meter reps suck. I feel like it's like ingrained in my head what 800 meters feels like. So I get to 800 meters, I look at my watch where I think I should be done, and it's like, you got a quarter mile left to run in this rep. I'm like, come on. So yeah, 1,000-meter reps, not great. So on to the Puma Deviate Nitro 3, and this is immediately making me think of, you know when they shrink wrap patio furniture in the winter and they just cover it in those white shrink wrap? That's what this does to my foot. It's even the same color. So I've got these in the all white colorway, but this I think is the tightest shoe in the forefoot of any shoe that I own. It has like no room in the toe box. It's very tight down on top of your foot. So if you want like a racing kind of fit in a tempo shoe, this will deliver that. But if you have a wide foot or need volume in the forefoot, this is not the shoe for you. It's can't express how tight it is in the forefoot compared to like any other shoe that I own. Another thing that I notice is the drop of this shoe. It feels much taller in the heel than in the forefoot. So let's get a couple rips in these, and then I got to get back to my house because I got to get on a call in like less than 30 minutes. So I got to get this finished. Well, the Puma is the most tempo-y of these tempo shoes. And what I mean by that is it's the most aggressive. It has that tight kind of racing fit. This reminds me more of like a 5K type carbon racing shoe, where it has that stiffer kind of feeling. I really feel the plate in this shoe. I'm able to put my power down and push off of this plate, and it's giving me a lot of reaction from the carbon plate in this shoe. I feel like with the Zoomfly 6, most of that explosion is actually coming from the Zoom X. The foam's compressing and giving me that bounce back, and then it's just rolling nicely off the plate. So that has more of like a bounce and roll kind of feeling, where this has a direct, stiff plate, power into the ground kind of feeling. So I would say if I was going to do a workout like this where I'm doing a lot of quick reps, this is the best shoe of the three. If I was going to do like a marathon pace long run, or a long run with some pace in it, this shoe might actually feel a little bit too stiff or a little bit too tight for me over a longer effort. I think the Zoomfly 6 would be best for that. And I think the Adidas shoe is the most daily trainery of the three. So if you just wanted one shoe that's going to stand up to a lot of abuse, a lot of miles, be durable, have a good outsole, a little bit of comfort, a little bit of bounce, but it's not the most explosive of the three. So that was an interesting run today. It didn't go exactly how I thought it would. I started in the Boston 13, did 3 miles in this to warm up, and it just felt okay at those warm-up paces. But then when I got into the reps, it really felt a lot better, and I'm like, okay, I see what the point of this shoe is. This is kind of heavy, though, as far as a tempo trainer goes, but all these shoes are actually around the same weight. This one comes in at 10.83 ounces in a size 12, 307 grams. It has 36 of stack in the heel, 30 in the forefoot for a 6 mil drop. This one has a very built up outsole. It has Continental rubber, it has the light traction, it's almost full rubber coverage. So this is going to be a really durable outsole that's going to last a lot of miles. It has a bottom layer of the light strike foam, which is the more firm foam, actually very firm to the touch. And then this has the newer version of Light Strike Pro on the top, which is the very soft and bouncy. So it has a little bit more stability in the heel from that firmer foam, and then much more bounce in the energy return from the front of the shoe. You can see this one has the rods in it, but it is still somewhat flexible, but you really get a nice snap from the shoe when you're running faster in it. I was a little surprised by how much I actually liked the Zoomfly 6 today. One thing I have to say is I've been hard on this SRO2 carrier foam for a while. It has softened up on me a bit. Now with the miles that I have in the shoe, it feels a little bit better than when I first got it out of the box. But this has a top layer of Zoom X right here, and then the SRO2 on the bottom. This one has a very wide footprint though. It has a large landing area in that forefoot. midfoot to forefoot. So I find if you're landing pretty many anywhere from here forward, you're really engaging the majority of the Zoom X and getting onto that carbon plate, and it just rolls and bounces and feels really smooth and nice. This one also has a carbon plate, but look how bendable it is. It does have the torsional rigidity, but again, this whole front part, like I said, is almost like a diving board where you're landing on this, rolling onto the plate, compressing and springing forward. So it feels really smooth. And when I was picking up the pace in this, just felt a lot more fun to run in than the Adidas shoe. That one's more narrow in the forefoot, feels more stiff. This one just felt more natural going through my stride when I was picking up the pace. This shoe actually weighs exactly the same as the Boston in my size as well. One of them was a little heavier, one of them was a little lighter, and then the average is the exact same weight. So this came in at exactly 10.83 ounces as well. However, this is a size 12.5, so if I had them in a 12, the Nike shoe would be a little bit lighter than the Adidas. This one has 40 stack in the heel, 32 in the forefoot for an 8mm drop. So it has a little bit more stack and weighs the same. In a size 12, it would actually weigh a little bit less with a little bit more stack. And something was surprising to me when looking at the numbers that it didn't feel like on foot. This is actually the heaviest of the three shoes. I was surprised about that. These ones came in at 11.15 ounces, 316 grams. These are a size 12 as well. These actually have the highest stack. These are 44 in the heel, 34 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. So I could actually feel that higher drop. It feels like the heel is higher in this shoe, but this one is by far the stiffest. You can see when I try and bend this one, the carbon plate in this shoe is much firmer than in the other ones. So what that really delivers for me is explosive power. You know, when you're trying to run fast in this, when I ran the 400-meter reps at the end, that was the fastest I ran the whole time. I would definitely do that fastest in this shoe compared to any of the other ones, because the Zoomfly kind of compresses more, gives you that bounce, but it's not as direct. This one really feels direct and powerful when you're putting a lot of force into it. But as I mentioned before, it has a very thin toe box with almost no volume to it at all. Like this, your toes are just in there. So I have a kind of a normal volume foot to a narrow foot. It fits me just fine, but I could see anybody that's got a little bit wider foot, just avoid this shoe. It's going to be too tight in the toe box for you. But again, this one actually felt the most like a racing shoe of the three, even though it's the heaviest, which is kind of weird. This one also has Puma Grip outsole, which is one of the best outsoles in the business. A lot of rubber coverage, very durable. So I think this is going to be a really solid shoe that's going to last a long time. So what do these three shoes cost? The Adidas and the Puma actually come in at the same price at $160, and the Zoomfly 6 is $180. So how do I rank these? It's interesting because they're all around the same weight, around the same price, have kind of the same purpose, but they go about it in different ways. I think if you were looking for what's going to be the most durable of these shoes, what's going to be the most sturdy kind of daily trainer that can also handle long runs and tempo efforts, that's going to be the Adidas. This one has that bulletproof outsole, the firmer foam in the bottom. I think this one's just going to be very durable and solid at doing everything, but it's also not the most fun of the group. Then the Zoomfly, I think, is the most fun of this group. This one, I really like the width of the forefoot, the way that this just kind of explodes. A lot of pop from this shoe. Just felt great when I was running fast. Going from the 1,000-meter reps from the Adidas to the Nike, I really enjoyed myself more with this one. And then the Puma is the fastest of the group. This feels the stiffest. It's really firm, this plate. So if you really just want to rip reps at a high speed, I think this actually feels the best going fast of all three shoes. But if I had to rank them, I think I'd actually put the Zoomfly 6 as number one, just for its overall versatility. It's a very comfortable upper. There's room in the upper. I think it's going to fit a lot of people well. I like the tongue in this shoe. There's padding in the tongue. There's padding around the heel collar. It's going to be good for long runs. This can handle marathon pace. It can handle tempo paces. It's just a very versatile, good shoe all around. I think this one's more the trading side of things. This one, if I was going to race in any of these three, I would pick the Puma. But I think if I could just have one of these three shoes, the Zoomfly 6 is really the most versatile of this group. So let me know in the comments if you've run in any of these three shoes and how you would rank them, which one you think's the best of this group. Or if there's any plated trainers that I left out of this that I maybe should have had matching up against these ones. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.